Welcome to W4M Roundtable. I'm Tiffany Foster, President of Women for Mentors, and I'm joined today with Virginia Overbay. She is our treasurer and also my fellow host of W4M Roundtable. Say hi, Jenny.
Hey everyone.
We just wanted to do a 2025 recap for y'all and just let you know a little bit about what we've been doing and what we hope to accomplish going forward in 2026. We're really excited. We've had such a journey with this, and we are putting in the time to just build out this community. Our whole intention is to create this space of mentorship where women can connect and feel like there's a community of support. So we're utilizing this platform to build that out and to create that space. And we have high hopes for how we can expand that mentorship going forward. And we are working on all those initiatives going forward in 2026. But you being here, you supporting this, joining and being a part of this community is so vital and so important. And so we're just thankful for you tuning in and just supporting this, sharing this, letting people know that we're here and that we're doing this. And thank you so much. They were just so grateful. So basically, some of the things that we have done so far, we have talked about everything from mentorship to financial rebuilding, and just really trying to focus on topics that we as women face. The whole intention behind Women for Mentors is to create a space for women, especially women that are starting their lives over. Ginny and I have similar stories where we both returned to education later in life as single mothers, and that is a whole journey and has its trials in its own, but it's doable. And what we've noticed over the years is that as women, we all can really accomplish whatever we put our minds to, but little things like having extra support around you, people championing you, and being able to see yourself in other women that are striving and doing those things is a big help. And of course, financial help as well. Getting those scholarships, it just eases the burden, even if it all it does is cover your books for the semester, every little bit helps, and it makes you feel like you can do anything. And it makes you feel that you have a community behind you that is going, you can do this. And so we're just here creating that. And we've been so fortunate for all the speakers we've had on sharing their stories, because it helps us know that we're all just doing this one day at a time, one pant leg at a time, and just making it as we go. So some of the highlights for our organization, Women for Mentors, actually, this was our first official year, and in 2025, and we gave away two scholarships. We're really thankful to local students in Asheville Buncombe Technical Community College, KB Tech. That is actually where we went. That's where that's our alma mater. And so we're really glad that we were able to help them out. And they were two scholarships in the total sum of $1,500, which we're really, really happy about for our first year of donations. And the great thing is that we accomplished this with a 0% admin overhead for the year. So this is all just us showing up with our hearts on our sleeves, just putting in the work to get this all put together. So thank you to our donors that we've had, and what we're hoping to accomplish for 2026 is to do even more than that. So we will get to that later, but we definitely need support, help, and we need more hands and feet. So but we will get there. So we're just going to go over just a little bit of highlights, some of the things that W4M Roundtable, excuse me, has covered this year. Our first guest was near and dear to us. It was Pamela Silvers, and she actually was our mentor when we were in school, or one of them. And when we went to AB Tech. And so she got to talk to us and talk to our audience about mentorship. And the visibility of being able to picture yourself in a field, in a career path. And I don't, Ginny, it wasn't, it was so one, obviously great to see Pam and just, it's kind of felt like a full circle moment for us, I think. But just having her also just revisit some of these topics, like how seeing other women in roles can expand what you believe you can achieve. I feel like that was so real for us when we went to school, don't you?
Definitely. And I think that at that time when we were in school, we really needed that message and needed that support. And it's been really interesting to kind of revisit that every few years. It's been, gosh, I guess it's 2025 now. So it's been about 8 years, I guess, since we kind of first went back to school. And every few years, it's nice to sort of catch up with Pam, kind of at this new stage of life. Maybe we have a new job than we had last time, and kind of hear that message again because it's not just applicable if you're in school, it's applicable as you're breaking into your career or, transitioning into a new role or anything like that. So it was really cool to reconnect with her again and sort of receive that message again because it's really really helpful. And when you're in school and you're thinking about what you're going to go into, thinking about the careers you might see other women in, you see it from one angle, and then when you're actually out in the world working, you kind of see it from the other angle. Then now I'm the woman in the career that someone could look to. So it was very full circle for sure.
It's so fun. I know she brought up and mentioned too, but even like the video we made when we were in school. And I love that because even to this day, it's so encouraging because I know she's so proud of what we did. And I know we were really proud of what we put together. It was a video that was entered into a contest and it was for women in technology. And we had so much fun because in that, I think that was kind of I would say our introduction maybe that prepared us for this
Mhm.
because I mean
Yeah.
we were interviewing all these incredible women and getting their takes on women working in STEM and interviewing them, and I think we just had such a blast with it. And I know the end product, I still feel really great about it. I think it was a really great video. But I love that she even thinks about that with us because it still makes me feel encouraged to this day. Like, oh, we were doing the right thing, and it's nice when people tell you, that they believe in what you do, and it makes you feel good. We're all very human, and we need that. So, yeah, I really love that we kicked it off on the topic of mentorship because that's the whole platform here, and just how it actually is that foundation for kind of all the other topics that we talk about, which I know we have other great guests that we're going to get to and talk about and reflect on. But Pam was definitely, I'm so thankful that she was available to be our first official guest on the W4M Roundtable.
Yeah, definitely. Other guests that we had, this was such a cool conversation. We had Leslie McFarland, who she is at North Georgia Technical College. She's the VP of Economic Development there. So the topic of this particular webinar was about breaking into trades and non-traditional careers. So she came with a ton of excellent knowledge and wisdom about kind of switching gears. We talked a lot about sort of second chance, um, switching gears later in life when you might be thinking, what am I doing? Or, I've been doing this for 20 years and I want to do something else. Or maybe you've been at home, raising kids for 20 years and you're ready to step into something totally new. And she provided us with tons of knowledge about specifically careers and trade. So we were talking about everything from welding to machine working and just all sorts of really what you would consider kind of highly technical, maybe male dominated fields. And she was really, really insightful, and I found her really inspiring. It's sort of funny that you sometimes you can talk to a guest and really sort of put yourself in their
Mhm.
shoes, but at the same time, maybe the choice of career that they went into or the business they started, it's not exactly what you would have done. With Leslie, I thought it was really interesting. She just had so many reasons why these kinds of jobs are a great idea for women to pursue.
Yeah.
And I felt like I could really see so many things. I was really excited talking to her. It seemed like there were just so many opportunities for women and things that you wouldn't necessarily think about if, like I said, you could be starting out, in your 20s or you might be in your 40s and I don't know, thinking ahead about what am I going to do until I can retire and I'm ready to kind of switch gears and what could I go into? And a big part of that was sort of figuring out your why. Why do I want to go back to school? What are the things I want to achieve? And maybe you don't have a specific dream career. You weren't always sitting around thinking, oh, I want to be a welder. However, it
Yeah.
is maybe something you're a little bit interested in. So she just had a ton of great info about resources for going back to school or going for the first time. And there's so many different programs that she listed with tuition assistance and lots of grants and what they call kind of workforce programs. In each state, it's a little different. She's in Georgia. We're in North Carolina. Some of the terminology is interchangeable, but ultimately it's sort of those trades that you might be sort of familiar with, but hadn't considered going into. So some of the things that she outlined that I thought were really interesting, specific to women, I think, is how much flexibility there is in a lot of these types of classes. You could go during the day, you could go at night. They're shorter than a 4-year degree. Some of
Yeah.
these are just 1 to 2 years. And then one really exciting aspect is the pay can be very high starting out right out of the gate.
That part actually kind of blew me away, recognizing how many options there were for a woman to be able to return to education for just a couple years and walk out making, I mean, kind of banger money. I was like, wow.
Maybe invest 1 to 2 years at school, get tuition assistance and grants for that, and then you might start out at a job making almost 6 figures. So it was really, really illuminating. I felt like I think a lot of women could definitely benefit from maybe switching gears a little and taking a look at some of those sort of non-traditional programs that you wouldn't have normally considered.
Or if somebody's feeling stuck too, like I also picture like if you feel stuck in a job and you're trying to, provide for yourself, your family, what have you, and you're like, I am not, we're not making it. Like we're not going to get ahead. We're not going to get out of this. Whatever the circumstance, I'm like, it's amazing to know there's options. And I think the thing that stood out to me a lot too with that was that there are companies actually that are investing with these schools to actually incentivize these, to incentivize women to come into these fields that are non, quote unquote non-traditional roles, to basically help provide a path and a support to get them into it, where you can almost have a guaranteed job when you graduate, which that's like, I mean, oh my gosh. And knowing that there's people like Leslie that care and that are there to help you and kind of hold your hand and be like, I'm here for you. It's amazing. Oh my gosh.
Well, it was a really fun talk that we had with her. She was super encouraging, really engaging. It made me think that even if you were maybe going to a school, not the school that Leslie is at, but a different one, you would probably find a Leslie there
Yes.
who really wants to encourage you and walk you through all the steps to make sure that you
Yeah.
can kind of get to where you need to be to meet your goals.
Yeah, breaking down that wall and recognizing that, there are people that are working on the admin side at these schools that actually do it because they care. And it doesn't mean that somebody couldn't have a bad experience or whatever. But I mean, I know I had a good experience when I went to AB Tech. I mean, on the admin side, the gentleman that helped me actually choose the degree to pursue. Like, he sat down with me, went through stuff with me. I mean, and so I think it's it's rest, it rests assured to know, like, wow, like, this doesn't have to be an intimidating thing. Like, you can just schedule an appointment to just go talk to somebody, and they're there to help you. Like, and they're nice people.
Exactly. And that's an advantage, I think, to looking into, what we call a community college, technical college, something like that. It's a little bit smaller, a little bit more focused. And I think that if you're feeling intimidated, especially about going to school for the first time, or if you're going back later in life, I think that a place like that will feel a little more welcoming. It'll seem a little smaller and maybe a little bit easier to break into, I think.
Yeah. And even if, which we know, we've experienced this, but even if things like childcare are an issue, and often it is, these admins, these people, they know resources in the area. Like, this is their job, this is what they do, and like, they have people they can direct you to that can help. And I know, I when I first returned to school, I had to utilize the YWCA, and that was, it still costs money, but it's way discounted hourly. And there's a lot of resources out there. And so you just have to ask people, and they will point you in the right direction to help pave that way, because this is something we all think about, and people are thinking about going, like, how can we help you make this easier? So gosh, yeah, that was such a great talk. Oh my gosh, we've had a lot of fun on this. I tell you what, we've learned a lot too. It's like
We definitely have a lot of a wide variety of guests, lots of different topics covered, and you never know exactly what they're going to say, so you end up just having a lot of really eye-opening
yeah,
conversations.
yeah. Like, to transition that into, I mean, one of our other guests that we had was Jocelyn Bermudez, and we talked about creating your own seat at the table. And she's just such a dynamo and a powerhouse. I've known her for years, and I mean, what a cool just story, just her sharing her journey, how she got to this place of being this, boss, lady, just kind of, she's just kicking butt and taking names, to be honest. And I think that she's so humble and has such just practical way of looking at things. And it's just kind of like, just keep going forward, and that's, it's kind of really the secret sauce to it all. It's just, yeah, like, it's hard. Do it anyway, right? Like, just
Exactly.
so she decided, she wasn't going to just wait for the opportunities to come to her. When she went back to work, and she was like, hey, I don't see a seat for me here, so I'm just going to make my own. And that's how she's an entrepreneur today and running her own business. And it's just, I think there's a resilience behind that, if we can just glean a little bit from, and just practically apply that to just our own journeys. But yeah, I thought she was just so awesome, so inspiring. And I'm like, yeah, yeah. And it just makes you want to just go, like, yeah, like, what am I not doing that I need to do? Like,
Hmm.
like,
Yeah, exactly. And I appreciated that because she kind of outlined, where she started and how she got to where she's at. I really appreciated that she basically said, I didn't do it the right way. The sort of things got off track, and she got married earlier than she thought. She had kids earlier than she thought, and there are sort of these journeys that we think we're going to take in certain timelines, and that almost never works out. But I really appreciated that she was like, this path went this way, and then I just kept going. And I still got my degree and did this. And I liked that she had some starts and stops And just because maybe one thing doesn't work out, or like this job isn't really fulfilling you, or this opportunity ends or doesn't come along, that just because a small step of that maybe pauses, it doesn't mean the journey's over. You can kind of keep going. And I really like that because she basically, hit some obstacles along the way, but just kept pushing through. So I think that instead of looking at it as, that sprint, we have to remember it's a marathon, and you might get a little tired at one point and have to take a little break. And that's not the end of the world, because the race is still there for you to continue on when you're ready.
100%. And it is, it's so, I think, just comforting when like, and you hear other women talk about the hiccups along the way too, and just be real about it, and it's like, because I think one of my takeaways overall is, as we've talked to guest after guest, is just recognizing we all walk around with our own perceptions of ourselves. We're all so hard on ourselves, I think, and every person that's been on has talked about how they kind of kick themselves about this or that, like we all have those moments. But I think that it's amazing to understand that we all experience it. And it takes that facade away of thinking other people have it way more together than we do. No, like other people, they have their struggles, they have their moments, they have their days. And we all have those times where we want to give up, but this is the part where you rise though. And that's why we're doing this. I want to bring it back really quick, because that's why we have this community and why we're creating this, is because we want to share these stories, share these topics, and open up the doors so that as a community, we can keep striving and keep growing and keep building, networking, and getting to that next place, wherever that is for you, whatever that is. It could be personal, it could be through your career, but just making sure that we can all keep growing and going in the right direction, moving forward. And I think yeah, Jocelyn was such a great inspiration, and just encouragement for that too. Just keep going. Love it.
We will go over one last guest. So we had Susan Glass on. She's a financial analyst, founded her own financial group. And we talked
Mhm.
about that very scary, intimidating topic of money.
Ooh,
Thing
that's
you
a hard
want
one.
to talk about, but don't want to talk about.
Nobody likes talking about finances.
Exactly. It's so scary. We all think about it probably a lot,
Yeah.
but then ultimately are sometimes afraid to face it. I think, especially if you are in a period of your life where maybe you're kind of transitioning from one career to the next, or you're trying to decide, am I going to go back to school or am I going to do this? Because, unfortunately, those things cost money. And sometimes you might have some setbacks. Maybe you lost a job, or your spouse lost a job, or you got a divorce. There, lots of things can happen. So I think ultimately it's one of those things that's somewhat in your control, but then also somewhat not. So it's great to talk to someone who has some just really practical strategies. I really enjoyed talking with Susan and just getting tips, honestly. I think when it comes to finances, that we just want to know, what should we do? What should we not do? How do we get started? It feels very overwhelming. We all want to just tomorrow, invest all our money and make $1 million and sit back.
Heck yeah.
That's what we
Like
all
we could
want.
be sitting on a beach just drinking margaritas. Like,
Exactly. And then we think, how in the world could we get there? So
Yeah.
Susan went through lots of great, like I said, really practical tips. One thing I really liked was that she was kind of explaining how to sort of rebuild, especially after like a major life transition. So, like we were saying, sometimes you just want to go straight up here and do this thing, but you need that foundation. So she said to kind of visualize, when you're trying to rebuild your financial confidence, sort of visualize it as a house. So if you're building a house, you have to put down the foundation first. You can't just start throwing up your walls and putting a roof on there. So I really liked that visualization of thinking of it as the house that you're building from the foundation up. So the foundation is going to be those things that can sort of catch you if you fall. You know, it's like the stuff that you need, the house payment, the insurance, things like that. The things that you definitely need. We all know we need them. That's the foundation. And then when you have that, that's when you can start thinking about other things. So she said you could think of the walls as like your liquidity, like your savings. And then once your walls are up and you've kind of hit that, then the roof, like the investments, things like that. So you don't want to go straight investing all your money when you don't have your foundation built, things
Yes.
like that. So I appreciated the visualization aspect of that. I think that helps really think about it when you know, want to skip a few steps and sort of
Yeah,
jump
she was
ahead.
really practical, like manageable. She really chunked things down. It's like when you have to start exercising again, and like you don't want to do it because, and you know, all you need to do is just start doing some light stretches and stuff just to get it kind of rolling. And it's like, but it feels like, oh, this is going to turn into a whole exercise, a whole thing. It's going to snowball, and it's overwhelming. But yeah, she did such a good job breaking that down and making it feel like, okay, this doesn't have to be this big overwhelming thing that you have no control over. You know,
Exactly.
you can reel it back in, have control over your finances, and really making it so it doesn't feel like it's this far off in the distance thing that like only people that really have it together or at a certain income, you know, level can start planning their futures. It's this is for all of us. Like we can all take what we have and build it and grow.
Exactly. And I think she had so many just practical strategies of going back to the basics. One thing that she recommended, this was one of her big tips that I think all of us really loved thinking about, even though it's a little scary, is before you can even really think about putting together a budget or, you know, planning things out, you kind of need to know first what you're spending. So she had this great
Yes.
recommendation for a month, for 30 days, get a receipt every time you buy something. So a lot of us, we don't get any receipts for anything. And then, you know, we're buying things from our phone, we're buying things at an online store, we get things in person. We don't always know what we're spending on things. We really, truly don't. So her really practical first step tip was to get receipts for your first 30 days, get the receipt, put it in a jar, and then, you know, just kind of live life as you normally would. And then at the end of the 30 days, you're going to look at those receipts and get an idea of what you're actually spending money on. Because I think
Yeah.
sometimes we can overestimate, think we're spending way more on this thing, but we're actually spending more of it over here on this other thing that we weren't
Yeah.
considering.
Well, it becomes
She had,
abstract too. It's like, you know, you use a credit card and you swipe things and it just goes off in the
yeah, who knows?
whatever. It's so different when we used to have to use cash for things, you know? Because then it's like if you had 20 bucks in your pocket and you spent the $20, your pocket would be empty.
Oh. Put your hand back in your pocket. There's nothing.
Oh,
So, yeah, exactly. This is kind of going back to a little bit of that sort of thinking of, you know, get your receipts. You're going to total everything up.
yeah.
She had a great example story of someone who was like, you know, getting a latte every day, something like that. So
Yeah.
you get it every single day. You know, at the end of the month, you have your receipts, and maybe you realize, oh, I spent $80. I spent $100 on lattes this month. Um, and that can be kind of scary when you face it. But what I really liked was then she said the person she was working with who
Mhm.
had this example, she recommended, how about every other time you do that,
Yes.
you get it. So it's not like instant, everything's cut off and you never get to have another coffee. It's
Yeah.
more thinking, okay, how can I moderate this a little bit? Because
Scale it back.
I think a lot of us, we like our little treats and we don't
Yeah.
want to, you know, just go from feast to famine and have nothing.
Yes.
So I liked that she had those really practical strategies of you're just kind of getting some receipts, getting an idea of where you're at, and then look at some simple changes you can make. And then over time, all those little simple changes really add up. And that made it feel a lot more achievable. Like you said,
Yes.
if it's too big of a goal, it feels so overwhelming. But if you're, just making small changes, taking small steps
Mhm.
along the way, it feels like you can actually do it.
Yeah, and I love, oh, she's so great too. And I would encourage people, if if y'all are looking for somebody to talk to about your finances, contact Susan Glass. But because she cares, and she's so generous. And I agree. Like, the way she was able to make it, and honestly, just even for me, making my brain recognize this is how I approach everything else in life. You take little bits and chunks. I do this with my day planner. You know what I mean? Like, I write down, here's the important things I need to do. Here's the things that I need to do, but they could be pushed off to next week if they need to. If I get to them, great. And you make it manageable, because if you gave yourself the whole list in one go, you'd be like collapsed on the floor in the fetal position.
Just give up before you even get started.
I can't adult anymore.
Exactly.
So I love that, because I feel like you rarely hear that about finances and how to make it just palatable and easy to approach, and recognize that this isn't a future you like problem. This can be a today you thing, and you can do it wherever you're at. Even if you're sitting there looking at your finances, go, I know where every dollar, I don't have anything extra to save or to do. I do believe, like, with practical advice like Susan gives, like, you can change it right now. Like, you can make
Hmm.
those steps, and it's not going to hurt your current life. You might have to make little changes, but they're not it's not she's not there to rock the boat. you know
Gentle encouragement along the way,
yes,
non-judgmental point of view.
yes, the W4M way.
Exactly. For all of our speakers this year, it's been really amazing to see. Like I said before, it's so many different industries these women are in. Some women went to college right out of high school. Some waited. Some started and went back later. Some totally transitioned to a completely different career field or started their own business. So it's been really, really encouraging to have all these conversations. I think that one thing that we really saw with everyone, every guest that we had, no matter which kind of path they had taken, um, talked a lot about being supported by other people, by other women in their lives, having those mentors, having people that encourage them along the way, um, gave them the space to make
Yeah,
some new choices or change things and offer some really great advice along the way. And that was sort of a very common thread I think we saw through everyone we spoke with, that it's it's hard to do everything totally on your own.
yeah.
Um, we all need some cheering on the sidelines. To
Yep.
go back to the marathon
Yeah,
analogy, sometimes you need somebody to hand you the cup of water,
100%.
someone to give you the protein bar,
Yes.
kind of stand there and talk to you when you're taking a break. So,
Yeah.
and then be cheering for you, at that finish line. So I think that something we've definitely learned ourselves and seen through all these conversations is that community is really important. Having support is really important. Having those mentors or role models, being able to see someone who kind of went before you, I
Mm.
think is really inspiring. And then you get to become that person that the people behind you are seeing. So I think that it's definitely a big process. It's a cycle. You can, just because you need help today doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean you're not going to make it. We all need help at different points, and then at some point you get to kind of turn around and help someone else too. So I think that that was something that was really encouraging, because all the women we spoke with are at that point where they're helping other women.
Yes.
And they all told stories about the person that helped them. So
Yeah.
I think that that was a huge takeaway. We knew it personally to be true, but just kind of seeing that in all the conversations we had was really cool. All the different places they came from, it all boiled down, I think, to getting support and supporting others. So that's been really cool to discuss, and obviously is a huge part of what we're trying to do with Women for Mentors.
100%.
So we touched on lots of different topics, but a lot of needs that came up as we discussed it, the things that these women kind of ran into along the way, a lot of financial literacy issues came up. Navigating school while you're parenting, how to update your resume, having that encouragement was also necessary. So I think that this coming year that we'll be able to continue to sort of build on those topics that we saw come up kind of over and over throughout our conversations.
Yeah, and I want to say is, I brought this up before, but Ginny, I appreciate you. We and I think it's still such a unique scenario. I think that we happen to go to school at the same time for the same degree.
Mhm.
We both happen to be single moms driving ridiculously old cars
That broke down all the
that broke
time.
down all the time. I mean, how many times we walked out of that school after class and one of our cars was dead? We had to
So
take
many
the other one to
times.
AutoZone. It, it was, and I think that's so unique. And I know not everybody gets that, which is why we're trying to create this space too. But I appreciate it so much. And now you're on this journey with me here through Women from Mentors, and we're riding this wave together. And I will say is that, through that baseline, that mentorship, that friendship that we share, I just appreciate it so much. And I'm really, really thankful that we've been able to have all these experiences together. And now we're able to sew into hopefully, into other women's lives and share this together. So I appreciate you.
Definitely.
Thank you. So with that, looking ahead, we have some lofty goals. We want to keep growing, and we want to keep on this journey, and just striving to do better than we did this year. So we are currently fundraising. We want to at least minimal match the $1,500 scholarships that we gave away for 2025. We would like to supersede that though and go far beyond that. We would like to give out more scholarships. And the reason is these are going to typically around local community-based colleges. We focus on Western North Carolina and Northeast Georgia. And for anybody that might question why, it's because these are our bases and where we can offer actually one-on-one mentorship support. That is another initiative that we would like to be able to launch in 2026 is that personalized one-on-one mentorship availability. So, every little bit that anybody can give, we are, whether it's giving monthly or sharing with other people that want to donate. One-time donations are great. We also have other needs. We have more roundtables coming up in 2026. So we would encourage people if you are interested in being a part of this, but maybe you can't commit to a regular showing up, but you can commit to just showing up and being a guest speaker and sharing maybe a story or a topic you'd like to talk about. There's so many topics we'd like to hit in 2026, and I'm hoping we can hit them all. I mean, I want to talk about everything from menopause to being a better salesperson to growing your career. Let's hit more topics around finances because I think that's something that is very much on all of our minds, and especially, economically as things change, as career paths might change, even with advancement in technology. We want to help make sure that our community is prepared and that we are all ready and we can get those answers. So, and we just want to reach more and more people. So, sharing this and sharing our network and encouraging more people to join in with us is always awesome. So we really just keep sharing about Women for Mentors with people, y'all. So ways to give. If you wanted to do a monthly donation, honestly, $10, $15, any amount helps. We've had one-time donations of just $20, and it doesn't matter. We're grateful for all of it. So please consider donating.
Yes, donations are wonderful if you aren't in a position to donate right now, or you just happen to know someone in your life who might want to get involved or could even benefit from the resources we have. Tell other people. Don't be shy and share Women for Mentors with others. That can be the webinar series, all these amazing conversations we had, or the application page, anything like that. We're looking to gain more resources as well as output those resources. So anyone in your life who might fit the bill for being a guest speaker, getting involved, or actually being a recipient, someone who might be in need of our resources, share.
And, like I said, we said, like volunteers, we definitely need, we have open positions right now on our website. So just visit womenformentors.com. We have internships available as well as just other volunteer positions. We need help across the board. So we would love to have you if you're interested, just contact us and let's see if it's a good fit. It's totally a passion project. This is a movement based on pay it forward. We experienced the benefits of having other people sow into our lives, and we're just trying to sow into others, and it's just trying to build up our local community. And so it's a great thing to be a part of, you know?
Yep,
So
exactly.
yeah. So okay, with that, womenformentors.com, that's with a number 4.
Hmm.
You can go to /donate, and there's PayPal. You can mail a check. You can send a pigeon. Any way. We accept it all. And don't forget to share this with like other students. If you know students, people that are returning to education, um, let them know and keep an eye out. Our scholarship's not open yet for 2026, but when it is, it'll be available, and you can always reach out, and we can put you on our list to let know when it is available. Well, thank you, Jenny. This is great. I'm really glad that we got to kind of do this overview, and I'm excited, honestly, about 2026. I think it's going to be good.
Yeah, it was great to sort of revisit everything and think through all the really great guest speakers we've had and everything that we've accomplished in 2025. So yeah, it definitely makes you excited for 2026 and what's to come.
Yeah. Well, I think our big takeaway too is when one woman rises, she carries a community with her. So, with that being said, as we go forward into 2026, just want to remind everyone that we rise together. Thank you for being here.